then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
Ethnicity.
Well, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy.
So after seeing that segment, do you agree with the suspension of Whoopi Goldberg? Or do you think what she said was 50% accurate, 70% accurate, or 0% accurate? Okay, my view on the whole suspension is that in order for someone to grasp the full ideology of something that's unknown, someone has to educate them in that department. A suspension is not an educational standpoint. A suspension is you was wrong, let's get punished. Okay, but we're talking about a show called The View, which means you should be allowed to say your point of view, right? But if someone says their point of view and you do not agree with it, you don't punish them, you have a debate. It turned into a debate. Now it's time to go back and forth to give out facts, not opinion, about why what you said was inaccurate. Okay, now it's time to open the doors and let's talk about it. Not let's sweep it under the rug and punish the person for saying something you don't agree with. That's not how you educate America, especially being on America platform like that with a lot of viewers. My opinion, this is how it should have went. If they got backlash from what she said, that would open the doors to have a segment about why what she said was incorrect, if that's how they felt, or she give her point of view of why she said what she said, where her views was coming from. We all don't think the same. We have our own views, our own thoughts, our own ways of living and thinking, right? So some things are not going to be correct or some things are going to be wrong, but who is wrong, right? So that's where you bring out facts. I felt like they should have said, okay, Whoopi, that's how you feel, but a lot of viewers don't feel that way. Let's explain to you why. Had someone that was Jewish come on that show and explain to them why they feel the Holocaust was based on race, and then have someone that did research on the subject of Hitler's behaviors and why it was pointed out to be a racial attack. Or like Whoopi Goldberg, she proclaims it's not about race. Now let's hear, why did you say that, Whoopi? What makes you feel that it wasn't about race? Because a lot of people I know are confused with the terminology Jewish. Is it a religion or is it a race? But I actually met a Jewish couple that said they classify it as a race as well. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, and for my opinion, I get where she's coming from and I get where I'm coming from. I think when people speak race, they feel like if you can't determine someone's race by the color of their skin, it's not racially motivated. Like, for instance, if you have an African American and an African person of descent, a lot of times, and if we're going against each other, they would say that's black on black crime. When in reality, it's not. This person is African descent when this person is African American. It's a difference. Just like you might have a Spanish person against a Mexican person, and you'll say that's Mexican against Mexican. It's really not. So I kind of get why she's thinking like maybe it wasn't race because they look the same. You know what I mean? Like, so that's my opinion. That's not facts of what I'm saying, but I can see why she was kind of probably like, that's not race against race. That was man against, man trying to empower and take over and doing stuff based off the neglect of humanity, right? So that's where I'm going with that. And in order for us to have knowledge on other cultures and to become a melting pot, we have to talk, even if it gets uncomfortable, because you got to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I feel The View was wrong. The View should have got uncomfortable, and so they can make everybody comfortable to gain their own understanding of why things were said. Stop sweeping everything on the rug, under the rug, because guess what happened? By them canceling Whoopi Goldberg, they took away from the Jewish community even more, because now everybody's focused on the suspension. Nobody's focused on is what she said a fact or not. Now you got people in comments arguing about the fact that this lady shouldn't have been suspended, or the fact that she needed to be suspended. Okay, so that's what they got to understand. That suspension just made everything a little more worse, because now we still don't know the truth behind the Holocaust. We are getting secondhand information from when we all was in high school, probably. Only reason why we learned about it because we had to. Okay, so now let's put this segment in a show that people watch by choice. You watch The View by choice. It's not forced upon you. Like when you was in school, you had to do a documentary, you was going to fail the class. So now that you got people that are willingly to listen and get the full ideology of something. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. I get tongue-tied when I get excited about topics, and I just be, my people's from the South. I got to keep telling you that. So a lot of terms don't come out correctly. Okay, so it's time to open up the doors and put this uncomfortable subject on a table, and let's talk. That's what The View is called. The View. It should be called Controlled Topics, because anything that's said, it has to be controlled. They just proved a fact that we do not live by the code of freedom of speech, because this is what happened. You get in trouble or canceled. Cancel can mean a lot of things. Cancel can mean killed. Cancel can mean your livelihood taken away. Cancel your job. Canceled for speaking your mind. They're just proving that you are not allowed to speak your mind, y'all, because y'all will get canceled, right? So instead of canceling people, teach people. When you know better, you can do better. This could have been a public lesson for all of us. They missed the ball with this one. This would have opened the door for so many people, especially the new generation, to learn a little bit more about a culture that they're not from. In order to lower racial hate is to educate, right? And the reason why I say that, because let me tell you, it's some things that culture do different that we don't even understand. Real quick, like for an example, within the African American community, something as simple as staring at someone too long can cause a problem. In some other cultures, if you stare at them, that can be a symbol of, you like me. Oh, this person is flirting. Okay, so like I can be an African American woman and at the store, and if there's another African American woman there, and say I'm just staring at her because I like her hair, or I think she's a beautiful African American woman, but by me just staring at her, that person will get offended and want to come fight me and be like, "What are you staring at?" And you'd be like, "Oh, I'm just staring because you know what, your hair is pretty." Okay, then they'll be like, well, why don't you say something? I'm serious. I'm dead serious. There's people that I know got in fights just because someone was staring at them. There's some guys that probably lost their life because they were staring at somebody. All right. But if you don't know that what's offensive and what's not to another culture. If we keep being scared to get uncomfortable and talk about it. That's my opinion. What is y'all opinion on this topic? Was she wrong? A. B. Should she have been canceled? Or C. What is a solution to this madness that we are not allowed to have freedom of speech? I thought the Constitution read freedom of speech as long as it does not cause any harm, meaning like you don't threaten another person to say, I have freedom of speech to say I will kill you or her family. No, you don't say stuff like that, because now that's not freedom of speech, because it's in an intent to cause harm. That's what you got to look at. Freedom of speech, intent, unless it causes some type of harm, right? So if she wasn't making no derogatory statements, I feel she should be entitled to say what she wanted to say and not get the backlash. And that's not just for Whoopi. That's for anybody. When Megan was on there, and Megan does not really care for the black community, she was allowed to say whatever she want, or she would excuse herself from the topic because she felt like she didn't agree. So you know how your mom said you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. So sometimes Megan, if you had like Trayvon Martin mom came on there to speak one time, she excused herself from that topic and came back when they was done. That goes to prove to you that she don't care for that Black Lives Matter stuff. She don't want to be involved, and she has the right to be like that. We can't beat her up because that's her view. It's called The View. I'm just saying, what do you guys think?